We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast.
All right, here it is. Welcome back for another edition of the BCSN Nation podcast, presented to you by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Let's go sports bar.
I, of course, am your host, Brandon Carnes, here with Justin Feldkamp and the guru of softball, 𝗦𝗫Ce 𝗦𝗫𝘀. All right, we are deep in playoff action, whether that's the NBA, the NHL, of course, the walleye, softball, baseball. I got a question for you guys. If you have a favorite all-time playoff memory, whether you played in it, you coached it, you watched it on TV, Justin?
I'm not going to give you just one. A few of them career broadcasting-wise.
Sure.
Cavs-Warriors 2016 NBA Finals. You know, doing live shots 4 feet away from LeBron James, warming up. That was fun. Newfoundland, when the Walleye played them in the 2019 Kelly Cup Finals. That was a fun trip to the easternmost point of North America. And then locally, Northview High School Baseball 2022 state championship run. That was fun to watch the Wildcats get all the way there. And then a parade down Sylvania's Main Street there, and championship rings handed out, and all the celebratory events that came along with that. That was fun to see a local Northwest Ohio team win a Division I state baseball title.
Absolutely. All right, Becca, favorite playoff memory, played in it, coached it, seen it on TV. What is it?
Yeah, I went a little bit more personal on this one. I went with Toledo when we won the MAC in 2019, the tournament champions. That's my best memory. And we went to play in the NCAA tournament. We played Kentucky. It was such a good time.
Yeah, can't beat winning your own title. Better than watching on TV. I got to go with 06 ALCS, Maglio Ordonez, the homer that sent him to the World Series over Oakland. Yeah, that one. I could watch it right now and still get chills. Love that moment. All right, and great moments we've got coming up today, including maybe a game-winning home run that you might see as our clip of the week. And we'll get you caught up on everything that is playoff softball here in Northwest Ohio. And, of course, our Game of the Week recap this week and so much more. Watch new episodes of the BCSN Nation podcast right here every Wednesday, 4 p.m. on BCSN. Catch us anywhere you hear your podcasts. If you're driving in the car, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, whatever it's going to be, hit the follow button on every social media while you're at it, at BCSN Sports, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, wherever it is. We're going to get right into softball playoffs. We'll start in Division II for this one. Maumee taking on 𝗦𝗫𝘶𝗶. This is last week. A 5-1 win for the Panthers. They claim their second straight district title. Huge day for Maumee on the defensive side, and some huge plays from a freshman of all people, second baseman Julia Kucher, a triple and 4 RBIs in the game. She was absolutely pivotal to their success, Justin.
Yeah, they've been great. And I think what we've talked about previously with Maumee and making these tournament runs when they were in the NLL, they're now in the NBC, but when they were in the NLL, they were going up against Springfield and Perrysburg and Anthony Wayne. So they would take their lumps during the regular season, and that would prepare them for the postseason. And then in some cases, they would just be dominant in the sectionals and then districts, and then reach regionals and get a win and compete and contend against the top 8 to 16 teams in the entire state. So this year they're in the NBC, and I still think there's some residual effects of those games, and they still scheduled some difficult, challenging matchups throughout the regular season, even as a member of the Northern Buckeye Conference. But yes, you mentioned Kucher. She was great. Lily Dooling has been great all season long.
Grand slam last week.
Grand slam, 420 to get them back in the game. It was 7-3, I think, at that point. Talk about a huge swing in momentum. She's hitting 423, 10 home runs, 47 RBIs, 33 runs. I mean, that is a wicked stat line. And they've just been doing great because they made it to the regional finals last year, lost to the eventual state champ in Talmadge. And they faced Bryan this time around, coming off that win against 𝗦𝗫𝘶𝗏. And Bryan is a very, very talented roster and program now. They've won 3 straight district titles to get to the regionals last 3 years. They've had a talented class, not only in softball, but a lot of those girls play softball, basketball, and soccer in the fall. So, Maumee has just been doing a great job. And Coach Brian Jones, I believe in his 7th year now. We'll talk a little bit more about them later. But they've been great and very deserving getting this win against a fellow NBC opponent in the district championship.
Rebecca, you mentioned it earlier in the season when I was talking about some younger players stepping from their freshman, their sophomore year and stuff like that, that they play a lot of travel ball. So it's hard to say freshman and not have expectations. But when you are a freshman stepping up in the playoffs, in the district final, like Julia Kucher, triple and 4 RBIs, she made a huge double play in the 3rd inning. It's still a young player stepping into a huge role for a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a freshman and you're coming in, you have nothing to lose, right? You're just like, well, it's my first showing. And so I think that you just need to be as aggressive as possible. She did that. That's a great play because I believe bases were loaded in that play. It would have changed the entire game. They would have had runs scored, even if she'd have gotten the 1 out at first. So she made a double play. It saved the whole inning. So I think she just probably was going aggressive, and it worked out for her. Clearly, she's doing a great job.
It was a huge play. Coach talked about her softball IQ being off the roof after the game. It was Hannah Ruiz had a great game, 6 innings, no earned, 5 hits. And this is their back-to-back, right, district titles. They start 3 freshmen and 4 sophomores. Yeah, this team isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I like that fact. I mean, this is varsity baseball. Varsity softball. So, I don't care if you're a freshman or a sophomore.
There's a standard.
If you're the best player,
you're going to play.
You're going to play.
Yep.
And I hope to goodness that all varsity coaches have that mindset. I mean, this is not recreational ball. This is not 12-year-old. This is not 10-year-old softball any longer. Like, this is varsity high school softball, and you deliver the goods, you play. Good work equals more work kind of thing. Good playing equals more playing time. And it'll be a key for them in this game against Bryan, because I think this could be a duel deep into we talk about football, and this will be a game in the 4th quarter. This could be a game in the 6th or 7th innings.
Yeah.
And making the right point, right play, and you talk about Kucher there, at any point in the game could be the key moment. It's not just 100%. The last 3 outs of the game. It could be a deciding factor in the 2nd inning or the 3rd inning. Yeah. And it could be defensively. It could be Lily Dooling hitting a grand slam that gets them right back into the game kind of thing. So that's what players have to be consistently aware of. And I tell the kids that I coach that, hey, before every pitch, every single pitch, not just once an inning, every single pitch, you got to say, okay, if the ball's hit to me, what am I doing?
Yeah. And you always have to think about the next play. That's the next best thing 100%. Is because if you don't make the next play, then you could put yourself in a rut. So
100%. Somebody who is consistently making great plays throughout his career in Northwest Ohio, in southern parts of Ohio, one of our top 20 male athletes of the BCSN era, 𝗦𝗫𝗀 𝗏𝗏, the Northview hockey alum, and spent plenty of time with the Fish as well. 138 goals in his career with Northview. The 2006 Mr. Hockey Ohio, most goals in a single season in school history. That's 64 goals that season. Lost in the state title game that season to Parma-Padua Franciscan. Went on to Miami of Ohio, played in 134 career games for the Redhawks, 35 career goals, 5 career game-winning goals in his time in Miami. Obviously moved to the ECHL, spent a little bit of time with the Stingrays, and then came to the Walleye, where he scored over 60 career goals, over 90 career assists in his 5 years with the Fish. A little bit of time in the AHL with the Portland Pirates, the Providence Bruins, and of course Grand Rapids, 68 career games AHL. And since 2021, a Walleye assistant coach, a staple in Northwest Ohio hockey, 𝗦𝗫𝗀 𝗏𝗏.
Yeah, he has been great. He's a local guy, has stayed true to his roots. He, as you see there with Matt Melzak, and done a great job with the coaching staff. And, he was part of the coaching staff. He played under Derek Lalone, now the current Detroit Red Wings head coach, and then has been with Dan Watson prior to Waddy's departure to Grand Rapids, and now he's maintained and been a part of the Pat 𝗏𝗏𝗏 coaching staff. So I think that speaks a lot to what he means to the Walleye organization, because when you're a head coach, hey, you have the power to get the guys that you want to be a part of your coaching staff, and he sensed that 𝗦𝗫𝗀 𝗏𝗏 is a guy that he wants on his coaching staff. Yeah. So 𝗦𝗫𝗀's been great. And, a little side story that he was a part of, unfortunately, in 2016, he had a seizure during a game on the bench with the Grand Rapids AHL affiliate. And he had to have brain surgery due to a malformation in his brain, talking about the quality of life beyond hockey, and came back from that surgery and still gave it a go as a player, and then found his way into the coaching world. And he has been an admirable asset to the hockey community, because not only does he do walleye coaching, but he also runs clinics and is active at Tam O'Shanter, where hockey players are there all the time, 12 months a year, and they do a lot of quality work, not only the Walleye reaching out to the youth programs in the area, but then with Alden doing special training sessions and coaching on the side, I guess you could say. He has been great, and again, another very, very deserving athlete to be a part of the BCSN era top athletes group.
Absolutely. Alden Hirschfeld, of course, one of our top 20 male athletes of the BCSN era. Shout out to him. Good luck to him this weekend as they head to KC. And we'll be right back after a quick 30-second spot from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings, buy one, get one free. Boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go, go, go. Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, now we're going to change things up. We're getting to our game of the week, brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon, a little bit early in recap fashion. Time for our game of the week. All right, not a preview this week. You'll understand why a little bit later in the show. We'll explain some things. But last week, an all-NLL matchup in the District Final Division I, Perrysburg and Springfield. And it was a heck of a game by both sides. A huge comeback for Springfield after Perrysburg took a really strong early lead. And then it ended with fireworks that we'll get into. Trust us. Don't worry, Justin.
Yeah, Jess Miller may have played a role in that. We'll get to that. But great two teams. We talk about the top tier, Springfield, Perrysburg, and Anthony Wayne consistently year after year after year. Three tremendous head coaches who have built stable programs. We always talk about not just a flashpoint of one great season when you got a bunch of seniors. It's a program and contributors up and down the roster, freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors. Hats off to Springfield. It seemed like not necessarily a letdown year because they are a solid program, but when you got 𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏 in the circle singularly by herself for the first time, coming after previous great pitchers, including 𝗦𝗽cije now at University of Toledo. But Perrysburg had a sizable lead, and I think maybe across the board they might have a little bit more talent, but this was a battle all the way till the end. I don't expect anything less from a Springfield coached team and Coach Rob Gwads and everything that they've done over 20 plus years here. There was a controversial call in this one in the third inning with 2 outs and a play at the plate. Haley Griggs slid in. From my vantage point and watching it multiple times in video and rewinding it and looking at it kind of in slow-mo with replays, something that the umpires do not have the luxury of doing. They got to call it as they see it right there. But I personally, did see obstruction from the shortstop altering the path of the runner. So it's obstruction, not interference. Obstruction is a fielder against a runner, which this case was. I know it was kind of retroactively reviewed after the play was not called obstruction initially right away. But to Perrysburg's credit, and they came out on top in this one, I did see obstruction from the shortstop. And then the umpire called it an out at the plate. I personally saw the hand from Griggs get underneath the tag.
Yeah, she just sneaked in there.
But she was called out, but they kind of reset the situation and kind of a moot point in the sense that Springfield came back and tied it. Exactly. So kind of dissolved that initial play. You could say it's reset 0-0, kind of starting over in the first inning kind of thing. But yeah, great game across the board.
Yeah, and for Perrysburg, you're getting your get-backs. They've lost the last 2 years in the district final to Springfield, so they got their get-back a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say it's poetic. When you're playing for a team consistently over the years, I've had it myself where you lose to the same team in the districts. You come back and you almost have a vengeance, and I think that's what they came back with. And also about that play, so when you're a player, the umpire is going to call what they're going to call, right? So you have to work with that. I mean, if they're going to call that against you, you still have to keep in the game. And so, like you said, it's a moot point anyway, but you still gave them a chance to win this game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to roll with the punches anyway. I know it's upsetting. It is what it is. But Jess Miller had a great hit, so we'll go over that a bit more later. But it was still a really great game, and two really great programs. They just did a great job this year, so hats off to both of them.
All right, we keep alluding to it. We're just going to get right to it. We're done beating around the bush. It's our clip of the week, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. It's Jess Miller. Play that wipe. Let's get into it. All right, the suspense is over. Here we are, bottom of the 8th. Boom! 2-2 count. Jess Miller. We're moving on. District champions. A bomb to left field, or right field.
Left field.
I know my left and my right. Because when you look at things this way, it's your left, and you're looking at me. You know what? Just watch the play. I'm done talking. Justin, go ahead.
I see an inside pitch called on a 2-2 count. It was left a smidge out over the inner half of the plate, and Jess Miller deposited it over the left field fence. Just a phenomenal swing. That is what you dream about when you're in the backyard
100%.
or when you're 10 years old or whatever the case. Not quite a full count and 2 outs in the bottom of the inning or extra innings, but pretty darn close. And she just put a good swing on it. It wasn't an awful pitch. You're battling out there trying to get the first out. And that situation, if I'm a coach and the mentality of a player is, hey, get on base, hit the ball hard somewhere and then get on base. And then the good swings can lead to what you just saw right there.
100%.
And that's exactly what she said after the game. So kudos to Coach Ryan DeMars for instilling that attitude and intensity level and mindset as a way to get a win. And Jess Miller just put some good aluminum on it and crushed it.
Yeah, after the game, Coach 𝗦𝗽cie said, she got us. That's what big-time players do.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You can't say much more than, hey, she made the play.
She just left it a little over the plate.
Exactly.
And if you're a lot of home runs, people don't intend to swing for the fence. They just are aggressively swinging. So she just put a good bat on the ball. I think it was maybe a little too close, too good of a pitch on a 2-2 maybe, but still she put in most of the work on that.
This coming just 2 days after a 15-5 loss to A-Dub, so a huge bounce back for Perrysburg. We'll talk plenty about what their upcoming game is going to look like, and if you want to see more of this, go over to our TikTok at BCSN Sports. Get this. You can watch the game-winning or the grand slam from Lily Dooling from last week from 𝗦𝗽cie. Plenty to watch over there, and we're going to keep things rolling in Division 1. A-Dub Mansfield, this is last week. Generals claim their 3rd straight shutout in the playoffs. They have not given up a run yet. Knock on wood, because the game that's going on this evening, Kat Myers, phenomenal. She has been throughout the playoffs. Had an 18 strikeout perfect game against Start last week. Followed that up with 5 innings and 6 Ks, only 2 hits this week. They are on fire. They're on a roll. A-Dub feels like they can't be stopped, Becca.
Yeah, Kat Myers, she's going to Michigan, as we've stated. She's just overpowered. And so is Molly Connor. They have back-to-back pitchers that are just, they're dominating. Nobody can even touch them. So you're not going to score a run if you can't hit the ball. You know what I mean? So it's just, they're overpowered.
Tends to make things harder, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, sometimes for us, okay? But they just have college-level pitching. I don't think the other teams have really had to see that than all the other teams in the NLL. Like, at least Perrysburg faced them a couple times, so they kind of know where they're at, and they can try and anticipate the pitches they'll throw, try to anticipate where they might throw in certain situations. But all these other teams, they haven't seen Kat Myers.
No.
So it's going to be interesting to see them for the first time.
And that's what Mansfield's head coach, Rob Nieswander, he said, hey, we wanted to lay off their rise ball, attack the other stuff. I thought we did a good job of that. But when the other stuff is 68 miles per hour and moves, that is not an easy ask. And it was not for the Rams.
Yeah, Anthony Wayne just proves time and time again why they are 110-12. 110-12 over the past 4 seasons. So you do the simple math, that's roughly 25-4 over the course of a given season on average. But yeah, they have the pitching, they have the hitting. Abby Kennelly, 241 hits and counting. That's 5th most all time in the OHSA. So she's got a chance to possibly get up to 4th, depending on how the season prevails in the regionals and potentially in the states. So for Anthony Wayne, I don't necessarily think they're playing with pressure, but in the sense of, if you're a coach, yes, they've had quality programs and teams year after year after year, and they reached all the way to the state finals last year, coming up short to Austintown Fitch. But when you have the caliber of talent,
right, it's
kind of time to cash in kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, this is high school sports, and in some ways you've already cashed in by getting to the regionals. There's 16 teams left in the entire state in Division 1. But when you have the success that Anthony Wayne has had year after year after year, and you have a kid going to Michigan and Notre Dame, and 2 going to OU, you want to Kennesaw State. You're like, hey, we have the talent. You just got to deliver it on the field for 7 innings. And they're well prepared and well equipped to do it, not only here at the regionals. Perrysburg could have something to say about that in the regional finals if both teams advance and prevail. But there'll be some quality teams awaiting, and we'll get to the brackets here in a little bit for the state tournament. But yeah, Anthony Wayne continues to do what they are expected to do.
Yeah, the success becomes your expectation. We're talking about Anthony Wayne in softball. We're talking about Central Catholic on the football field, right? Just winning a league title isn't enough. Just winning that second round of the playoffs isn't enough. Clinched their NLL title last Wednesday. Then they get their district title on Saturday. 4th straight district softball title for Anthony Wayne, and it's coming from multiple people. We've talked about it. We've talked about Kat Myers. We've talked about Molly Connor. Sophomore Megan Sumner had a 2-run double in the 4th. They scored 5 runs in that 4th inning, so that's really what vaulted them over top. We'll get plenty into what's coming up for them today, honestly. But while we're at it, we're just going to get into it. You know what? We're talking about it. Just give me the graphics. We'll go Division I graphic first. Cisco, hit me with that goodness. Boom, beautiful wipe. Division I softball bracket. This is your regional, all the way up to your state semifinal. You see the Division I bracket. Brecksville and Anthony Wayne right there at the top. You got Perrysburg, who's going to take on North Ridgeville. Bottom half of the bracket, we'll get to those teams and see them. Hopefully, eventually, Watkins Memorial, Hilliard Bradley, and then you've got Lancaster and Tees Valley. Winner of these games today will go to the regional final. That'll be at Clyde later this week. Brecksville, Anthony Wayne, the first one we'll talk about. A-Dubs, their only loss this season to number 1 team in Division I, right? Walsh Jesuit. That's a 1-0 game. They've been there. They've faced the best teams. I think they're ready to get onto it with Brecksville. They beat Valley Forge, Avon Lake, and North Royalton by a combined 35-2 score, did Brecksville. So they are ready for the challenge as well.
Yeah, there's an upper echelon of teams. And what is interesting in the regionals for Brecksville, Broadview Heights, for the other portion of the bracket that is not on your screen right now, Austintown Fitch and then Walsh Jesuit. One of those teams is going home after the regionals. If both of them win in the regional semis, they would face each other in the regional finals. So if Anthony Wayne or Perrysburg advances to potentially face one of those two teams, it would be in the state championship game.
Exactly.
So
that's the way you want it if you're A-Dub, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to catch that team early.
Correct. So for Anthony Wayne and Perrysburg, we would love to see an all NLL showdown there in the regional finals. But yeah, the players that would have to contribute, you mentioned Megan Sumner, Trinity 𝗻𝗻𝗻, Molly Connor, Kat Myers,
Essence
a bunch
DB.
of them. They would, all of them are going to have to contribute at the regional level in the games that are going to be taking place at Clyde.
And for Perrysburg, they're hitting their stride at the right time. Their only loss in the last basically month, since the 25th of April, has been A-Dub last week. They're hitting their stride. They take on North Ridgeville, who's beaten Elyria, Midview, and Revere in their district to get to where they are. You can't ask for any more than, hey, we got one loss in the last month. We're hitting our stride.
Exactly. And as you've seen, they've been hitting home run, home run, home run. They're so aggressive in the box. It's unreal. Their lineup top to bottom is stellar. The only thing that they sometimes are a little shaky on is defensive plays. And their pitcher, Mason Gerard, is doing such a great job. She might not be
stellar all season,
She might not be a strikeout hitter like Kat Myers, but she still gets the job done. She gets ground balls. Her changeup is excellent. She says she's been using that really successfully to help throw batters off in the batter's box. So they're doing a great job. It's going to be really interesting. I hope that we do end up seeing.
Let's get that all NLL regional final. We're ready for it. We're going to move on to the Division II bracket. Let's see that thing up there. Here you go. Maumee and Bryan. That's going to be today. And then the winner of that will get Lexington or Springfield. That's the Akron Springfield, not ours. And then you've got Jonathan Adler, Logan Elm, and Unioto versus Dover on the bottom half of this part of the bracket. There's too much bracket for one screen. All right, we're going to focus on our teams. We're being homers. Deal with it. Maumee, Bryan.
Maumee, Bryan, NBC versus NWAL there in the sense of these two teams met earlier in the regular season in mid-April.
Maumee the victor.
15-0. So if I'm a coach,
it's a good omen.
Coach Brian Jones, I like that. But at the same time, I would tell our team, I would tell our team, hey, new month, new game.
New season, basically.
New lineup, potentially.
Yep.
New pitcher, depending on where you were with injuries, or if you want to get this pitcher some experience, or where you were at that stage. You kind of got to wipe that away from your memory and say, hey, we're starting fresh here. First pitch, new game, let's go. But Maumee has to come ready to play because this Bryan team is tested in more ways than one. They got a great pitcher and great youth. Both of these teams have some young pitchers and young key contributors up and down the lineup. But for Maumee, we already talked about Lily Doolin and Julia Kucher, Hannah Ruiz as well, but Taylor Smith, Autumn Gugger. both of those players hitting more than 450, 515, multiple home runs. So all those teams and all those players on Maumee going to have to come through.
Hopefully you have watched or are watching all these games on the BCSN app. And it's almost time, one of our favorite times of the year here at BCSN, and that's for BCSN Honors, our biggest show of the year, awards to all of those who are most deserving in Northwest Ohio. And we've got a few categories. We'll get into a few each single week here on the podcast. We'll start with individual performance. We've got Blake Wagner of Maumee High School, broke the school's single season record for goals scored, helped for an NBC title. Bria Jefferson, cannot forget the amazing game she had in January, dropping 41 on A-Dub, and then Caden Granger on the baseball side of things for Stritch. 19 days, 2 no-hitters, pretty good time for Caden Granger. All 3 of these performances, absolutely incredible. Breakthrough performance, we'll get to that next one. Here we go, Daryl Barnett Jr. on the football side of things, a crazy game that he had against St. Francis earlier in the school year. 4 touchdowns, the 2-point conversion that beat the Knights. Joel Neary, St. Francis soccer. October 24th, he had a crucial saves as a freshman in PKs to beat A-Dub in the district semifinals. Playoff performances, tough to beat. And then Peyton Tully, Anthony Wayne, girls lacrosse, 6 school records and helped the Generals to an NLL regular season championship. Get to that last graphic, game of the year, and these were incredible games. Northview Findlay boys basketball. Sure, you all remember that. We had Mike Robb sitting at the table here with us to talk about it at the time. Knocked off state-ranked Findlay 50-48. Perrysburg St. John's boys hockey down 3 goals in the final minutes. Perrysburg comes back. They beat the Titans. A-Dub Springfield just a few weeks ago on the diamond. A-Dub game winning against 2 state-ranked teams, right? Obviously, Anthony Wayne Springfield, 5-4 in 8 innings. We've got some runners in these races.
Yeah, it's always challenging to compile these lists. So to give some people some understanding of how we get to what you just saw and heard is we compile stuff from the beginning of August all the way up until now, and we keep a running list, and then we have to narrow it down. In some cases, it's very difficult, extremely difficult to take off a game or an individual performance because we can't have 17 nominees.
Right.
But we do, especially for Game of the Year. We've seen fantastic finishes, whether it's buzzer beaters or whatever the case may be.
Walk-off home runs in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we try to compile all of it, get a wide representation of all of the area schools, all of the area leagues and conferences, all of the area sports, all of the area seasons. We just don't want to have a bunch of nominees in exclusively the fall or exclusively the winter or exclusively the spring. We want to represent any and all of our area, and it is the time to shine when it comes to BCSN Honors. Sunday, June 9th, live at 2 o'clock on BCSN and the BCSN app.
Yeah, that's all we got to say about that Sunday, June 9th. In the meantime, we'll let B-Dubs talk to you about why you should go ahead and get some wings while you're listening to the podcast.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
More wings, always good. More games on BCSN, even better. Let's see what's coming up this week. Plenty. We got a busy Thursday here on BCSN. Baseball district semis are going crazy. Whitmer and Northview, St. Francis A-Dub, Bryan and Napoleon, Maumee Defiance, Archbold, O-Hills. Pretty good when we have this many teams in the district semis on the baseball side of things. Of course, the Jamestown Jackals coming to town to take on the Wranglers. All those games on BCSN or the app. And then Friday and Saturday, the long trip or a long stay in KC begins. The conference finals, the Walleye, after winning Game 3, head out for Game 4, Game 5, and 6, and 7, all going to be in KC. Let's hope we don't need every single one of them. Let's take it to Game 6 at most, right? 4-2 conference. Head to the Kelly Cup Championship. That's the goal.
Yeah, the Walleye have played really well on the road. I mean, keep in mind, they won 22 games in a row. It's not like all of those 22 were at home. They have one on the road. They can't do it again. They did it against Kalamazoo and Wheeling. But yeah, Get to the BCSN app. We got all kinds of high school districts and regional games the rest of this week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Take a look.
Get it going, and make sure you're right here every single Wednesday, 4 p.m. for a brand new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast. Follow at Carnes Brandon, at Yenrick R, at Justin Feldkamp, and follow at BCSN Sports. Anywhere there is a follow button. Catch you right here next week.